A new exhibit at the San Francisco Public Library brings the voices of Ukraine to life through photos and stories, and it's all through the lens of librarians. You can see the before and after of a regional youth library there, what it was, what it is now. This is all a part of the visuals you'll see in something called Celebrate Ukraine. And here with more on this rare connection are the photographers who put together the exhibit. We're talking to Ellen Manchester and Robert Dawson. Welcome, my friends, to Bay Area Focus. Why is this so deep in your hearts? Because you have to start with the heart to deliver the visuals, to know where to point that camera. Why is it so deep in you?
Well, we felt that traveling to Ukraine was really an important thing in 2016 when we did it. It was part of our early exploration of a global library project that we were looking at libraries throughout the world. And Ukraine was a place I'd always wanted to go. And in 2016, there was a war going on, which most Americans didn't know about in the East, in the Donbass. So it felt important for us to be able to see what the libraries were doing in trying to help keep the population and the culture going through a terrible time. And this was before the invasion and before Putin's war now. There was an earlier war that we were next to.
So we're going to show our viewers some of the photos that you sent us, and maybe you can look at what we are seeing and take us into these moments. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, one of the things I did was to connect with the American embassies in Poland, in Warsaw, and in Ukraine, and then later in Moscow. And so this was an image of my giving a talk at a place that was part of the American embassy in Kyiv. And surprisingly, a lot of people showed up. I was really kind of shocked by the attention that people gave to that. And this image was also in one of the libraries we visited to help people understand America. We didn't realize that we were stepping into a kind of a whole soft power effort the American government and the American embassy was trying to do at this time in Ukraine. Some of the people in the libraries we encountered were refugees. They're called internally displaced people from the Eastern Front, from the Donbass. This man was a young guy, taught himself computers and taught himself English, and now he was teaching computer use. This is a woman who was a psychologist in the library for the internally displaced people and the war veterans that were coming back from the war in 2016 and their families. So she was a full-time staff member of the library, and that's where they met.
And you know what I think is so meaningful to this conversation is that we remember that libraries are repositories for books that open windows to the world. There's something called bibliocide that I think our viewers will benefit from knowing about. Tell me what the risk is to the people who need that window to the world.
Right. Bibliocide is a term that has been coined to indicate the intentional or accidental destruction of books and archives and civic memory, basically. And so we were very interested in how these internally displaced refugees in Ukraine had access to, we thought, what was one of the most robust public library systems we know in the world. I mean, Ukraine has thousands of public libraries for a country that isn't really that big population-wise. So the preservation of these archives and the books is really critical. And one of the people that you have a voice recording from talked about how the Russian soldiers actually have come in and grabbed books and taken them out and destroyed them or burned them to try and destroy people's histories, their cultural history.
It's so important, and I so appreciate you teeing that up because, you know, we're a community, whether we live here, whether somebody's 1,000 miles away, we are a human family, and I want everybody now to meet somebody that we are connected to, whether we know it or not. This is a voice from Ukraine in the middle of that war zone. This is Katerina. Listen.
My name Katerina. I am librarian from Kharkiv, Ukraine. My city is destroyed every day. Kharkiv is only 40 kilometers from the border with Russia. Every day Russia kills Ukrainians, destroys our residential buildings, our schools, universities, libraries, museums, all our cultural heritage, everything that is dear to us. I never thought that I would live the most terrible moment of my life when explosions are heard around you and your city, which you adore, is on fire.
On fire. All right, so let's really take that voice to our hearts as we look at a few more of your photographs here. Continue walking us through, because to me, the windows to the world are what we need. Tell us about this young lady, this display, and the young people who are looking in on it.
One of the places we went to in Kyiv was the National Library of Ukraine. They were the most generous group of people I've ever met. They spent an entire day showing us one of the world's largest national libraries. And this is another part of the library. All the gifts given to the presidents of the Ukraine were housed in the library, and this is a tapestry of all the Soviet leaders of the Soviet republics and the Soviet Union at the time, and it was an old gift. This was a project of the Ukraine Institute that was taking these old photos of famous buildings, in this case libraries, showing the before and now currently what the building looks like after the Russian missile attacks and rocket attacks, destroying the heritage. And this is another town in northern Ukraine, the same thing, the same idea. So they have a whole series now that they're doing on this, which is incredibly important, preserving the memory. And that's a lot of it. Is about the erasure of memory. Ellen mentioned the books being taken. A lot of the Russian soldiers apparently are taking Ukrainian language books.
Yeah.
Those are the ones they're targeting. Yeah. So it's not just books, but they're erasing the memory of the language of Ukraine, the culture of Ukraine. They want the Ukrainians to become Russians, basically, which they're not.
Well, these libraries are so crucial in our world, and if it weren't for your heart connected to your eyes and then your lenses by extension, we wouldn't know about this. So thank you so much, Ellen and Robert. Don't miss this rare chance to connect with the people of Ukraine. They are a part of our community. Join Ellen and Robert at Celebrate Ukraine, happening Saturday, October 22nd at the San Francisco Library, something so important to our community. And for more information, visit sfpl.org.